Okay, so we're starting with a geometry of quadrilaterals, die meetkunde van veelhoeke. So, jy moet hierdie eienskappe op hierdie eerste twee bladsy, die meetkunde, al hierdie eienskappe van 'n parallelogram, 'n reguit, 'n reghoek, 'n vierkant, trapesium, vleer op hierdie bladsy en op hierdie bladsy moet jy leer. Okay? So you have to study all of these properties on these first two pages. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through them. So you know from previous grades what a parallelogram is. Parallelogram het twee pare teenoorstaande sye wat parallel is. 'n Rhombus is basies 'n ruit, is basies net 'n vierkant wat skuins gedruk is, so al sy sye is even lank. A rhombus is basically just a square that's been pushed skew, so it has two pairs of parallel opposite sides. A rectangle, opposite sides, same length, 90-degree angles, and opposite sides are parallel. 'n Reghoek, teenoorstaande sy is parallel, hoeke is 90 grade, teenoorstaande sy is ook ewe lank. Square, vierkant. So this, all of this, the angles are 90 degrees, all of them have the same length, and we have two pairs of parallel lines. Twee pare parallelle lyne by 'n vierkant. Al die lyne is even lank, al die hoeke is 90 grade. With a trapezium, of the four sides, only two opposite sides are parallel. One pair of parallel lines. By 'n trapezium het ons net een paar teenoorstaande sye wat parallel is. Die ander twee is nie parallel nie. Hulle is ook nie noodwendig ewe lank nie. They're not the same length. With a kite, two adjacent pairs of sides are equal. So those two next to each other are equal, these two next to each other are equal. En 'n vleer, twee sye langs mekaar, twee pare sye langs mekaar is ewe lank. So daai twee is ewe lank, daai twee is ewe lank. Goed. Dan, all of these properties you have to know off by heart. You have to study them. You're not going to be able to do the math if you don't know these properties. Okay? Jy moet hierdie eienskappe op hierdie bladsy, moet jy leer, jy moet dit ken, jy moet dit uit jou kop uit ken, sodat jy die wiskunde van hierdie goeders kan doen. Okay. So, again, a parallelogram, you have to know that in a parallelogram, the opposite angles are equal. Die teenoorstaande hoeke in 'n parallelogram is gelyk. Jy moet weet die teenoorstaande sye is gelyk, teenoorstaande sye is parallel. Okay? In a rhombus, again, opposite angles are equal. Teenoorstaande sye in 'n ruit is gelyk. Teenoorstaande sye en teenoorstaande hoeke. Opposite sides as well as opposite angles are equal. Opposite sides, all of the sides are equal. Opposite sides are parallel. Teenoorstaande sye is almal parallel in 'n ruit. In 'n reghoek, al die hoeke 90 grade, almal teenoorstaande sye is ewe lank, teenoorstaande sye is parallel. In a rectangle, all of the angles are 90 degrees. Opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel. In a square, the only difference between a square and a rectangle is that in a square, all of the sides are the same length. So in a vierkant, al die sye ewe lank, twee pare teenoorstaande sye is parallel, al die hoeke is 90 grade. All the angles 90 degrees. two pairs of sides opposite each other are parallel, all of them are the same size. In a trapezium, the only thing we have here is that those two sides will be parallel. Okay, in a kite, though two sides next to each other are equal, and the two angles are equal opposite each other, but not those two that's between the two sides that are equal. It's the two angles that are between the two sides that's not equal. Those two angles are equal. So in 'n vleer, weet jy nou, dat dit beteken dat die twee sye langs mekaar is ewe lank. Daai twee is ewe lank en daai twee is ewe lank. Dan is die twee hoeke teenoorstaande mekaar is ewe groot, maar is nie daai twee wat ewe groot is. Die twee hoeke wat tussen die twee sye is wat ewe lank is nie. Is die twee hoeke wat tussen die sye is wat nie ewe lank is nie. Sien jy, daai en daai is nie ewe lank nie, en daai hoek is dieselfde groot as daai hoek wat tussen daai twee sye is wat nie ewe lank is nie. Goed. So weer eens, al hierdie eienskappe, elke liewe enkele een van hierdie eienskappe moet jy ken. Jy moet dit memoriseer. Each and every single one of these properties you have to memorize. So before you go on with this video or do anything else, you memorize these properties and you make sure you remember them 100%. Okay, so now that you have paused the video and you have memorized all of those properties, going to go through this example 4 with you. That's on your on the papers that I have posted in Google Classroom. Hierdie is op die studienotas wat ek op Google Classroom vir jou gesit het. So voorbeeld 4 het ons nou hierso 'n parallelogram. So voordat ons enigiets anders doen, moet ons eers onthou, in 'n parallelogram is teenoorstaande sye is ewe groot. So onmiddellik, sonder om eers te kyk na die vraag, gaan ons weet, as daai 125 is y ook 125. As daai 155 grade is x ook 55. Hoe weet ons dit? Want ons weet wat is die eienskappe van 'n parallelogram. Okay, so if we look at this example 4, that parallelogram, without even looking at any question, we can immediately know that because we know the properties of a parallelogram, and one of those properties is that opposite angles are equal. If that's 125, then y will also be 125. If that one is 55, then x will also be 55. How do we know that? We know that opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal. That's how we know. Okay. If we go to this one, then we can see that there is another parallelogram. In this parallelogram, we have a trapezium there, and there we have a triangle. Okay, so daar het ons 'n parallelogram. Binne in daai parallelogram het ons daar trapezium en daar het ons 'n driehoek. Goed. Nou wat hier aangedui word is dat hierdie 'n gelyksydige driehoek is. They indicate to us that all of those sides of that triangle are the same length. The moment we have that, then we know all of those angles are 60 degrees. Die oomblik wat ons 'n gelyksydige driehoek het, wat al die sye ewe lank is, weet ons dat elke een van daai hoeke 60 grade is. Without even looking at all of this. Omdat ons nou weet, hierdie ene is 60 grade, omdat hy deel is van 'n gelyksydige driehoek, weet ons onmiddellik daai ene is 60 grade, want hy is teenoorstaande hoek in 'n parallelogram. Okay, so because of all of these sides are equal, we know that those angles, all of them are 60 degrees. How do we know that? Because we know the properties of a triangle. Okay, so that one is 60 degrees. And now, because we know the properties of a parallelogram, one of those properties is that opposite angles are equal. If that one is 60, that angle there will also be 60 degrees. Okay, now we can see that that line and that line are both parallel to each other. And the moment we have two lines, they're parallel, forming a U. Do you see that there's a U there? And that one is 60 degrees. This one will be 180 minus 60. Why? Because that's a co-interior, two co-interior angles. Hierso, omdat ons nou weet, daai hoek is 60 grade, en ons weet hierdie is 'n parallelogram, weet ons dat teenoorstaande hoeke in 'n parallelogram is ewe groot. So as daai een 60 grade is daai een ook 60 grade. Hoe weet ons dit? Want dit is 'n parallelogram, teenoorstaande hoeke in 'n parallelogram is ewe groot. Daai twee sye is parallel. As ons daai twee sye het wat parallel is, vorm daai twee 'n U. So daai hoek en daai hoek is ko-binnehoeke. So as hulle twee ko-binnehoeke is en daai enetjie is 60 grade, is daai een 180 minus 60. Reg? Dis nou alles net hoe groot is. Hierdie voorbeelde wat hulle hier gee hulle lengtes. So, daar so weet ons nou byvoorbeeld dat daai is 6 cm, so al daai sye is ewe lank, so hierdie is ook 6 cm. Goed. All of that I said were just angles, but the example that they give here is about the lengths of the sides. So if that one is 6 centimeters and it's shown that all of them are the same length, then that one is also 6. That and that means that these two are the same length. So that means this is 6 centimeters and this is 6 centimeters. So that whole line together is 6 plus 6, so that's 12 centimeters. Hierso dui hulle vir ons aan dat hierdie sye is almal ewe lank, so daar is ook 6 cm, daar is ook 6 cm, maar daai beteken dat hy ook ewe lank is. So as hierdie 6 cm is daai 6 cm, dan is daai hele lyn saam 6 plus 6, so hy is 12 cm. So as daai in 12 is, weet ons, in 'n parallelogram is teenoorstaande hoeke, sye is ewe lank, so as daai in 12 is daai in ook 12. Hier, teenoorstaande opposite sides are equal. So if this totals 12 centimeters, then that one will also be 12 centimeters. If that one is 6, that one will also be 6. Why? Because we know the properties of a parallelogram are that the opposite sides are equal. Okay. For C, immediately we can see that this is a rectangle. Hierdie is 'n reghoek. Wat weet ons van die hoeke van 'n reghoek? Daai hoek, al daai hoeke is 90 grade. All of the angles of a rectangle are equal to 90 degrees. Therefore, we know that x plus y is 90. There, they tell us x is equal to y. So that means x is 45 and y is 45, because 45 plus 45 is going to give us 90 degrees. Okay? Ons weet dat in 'n reghoek, omdat ons die eienskappe van 'n reghoek ken, weet ons dat al die hoeke 90 grade is. So ons weet x plus y is 90. Daar sê hulle vir ons x is gelyk aan y. Dit beteken hulle moet albei 45 wees, want 45 plus 45 is 90. Okay. Voorbeeld D. Here we have a kite. Immediately, without even looking at any question, let's see what we know. We know that if that one is 6, this one is also 6 centimeters. If that one is 8, that one is also 8 centimeters. So hier, sonder om eers te kyk na vrae, as ons net kyk na wat ons kan weet, uit die feit dat ons weet hier is 'n ruit, 'n vleer, is dat as daai een 6 cm is daai lyn ook 6 cm. As daai lyn 8 cm is daai lyn ook 8 cm. Hoe weet ons dit? Want ons ken die eienskappe van 'n vleer. Ons weet dat twee sye langs mekaar ewig groot is. Okay, now we also know that if those two lines are not the same length, then those two angles are equal. How do we know that? Because we know the properties of a kite. So if that one is 125 degrees, then that one is 125. So hierso weet ons as daai en daai sye, twee sye is wat nie ewe lank is nie, dan beteken dit daai en daai hoeke is ewe groot, die twee teenoorstaande hoeke. Hoe weet ons dit? Ons ken die eienskappe van 'n vleer. So daai een is 125, so daai een is ook 125. Okay. Nou moet ons bepaal wat is x. So one thing that we always know about all quadrilaterals, een ding wat ons altyd weet van alle vier hoeke, is dat die totaal van die binnehoeke is altyd die totaal van 360 grade. The total of the sum of all the interior angles of a quadrilateral will always equal 360 degrees. So if we now know that one is 125, that one is 125, that one is 30, then we can say x is 360 minus 125 minus 125 minus 30, which would give us 80. Hierso, omdat ons weet, die totaal van die binnehoeke in enige vierhoek moet altyd optel tot 360, gaan x wees 360 minus 125 minus 125 minus 30, wat vir ons 80 grade gee. Okay, now please use everything you know about the properties of quadrilaterals to answer all of these questions in exercise 4. So I'm just going to do this one as an example. Again, you can see that one is a parallelogram. So you know the properties of a parallelogram. One of them is that those two angles, opposite angles are equal. So those two will be equal and those two will be equal. You also know that opposite sides are equal. So if that's 16, that will be 16. If that's 32, that's 32. Okay. So x is going to be 118, y is going to be 62, this side is going to be 16 millimeters, and that side is going to be 32 millimeters. How do we know that? We know the properties of a parallelogram. Goed. So please do all the other questions up to I of these examples here. So, omdat jy nou al hierdie eienskappe van die vierhoeke ken, moet jy asseblief die hele oefening 4 doen, van A tot by I. Gaan net weer hierin as 'n voorbeeld doen. So dis 'n parallelogram. Die oomblik wat ons weet dis 'n parallelogram, weet ons. Daai en daai lyne is ewe lank en hulle is parallel. Daai twee lyne is ewe lank en hulle is parallel. Daai twee hoeke teenoorstaande is ewe groot, daai twee hoeke teenoorstaande is ewe groot. Nou kan ons die vraag antwoord. Onbekende hoeke aangedui deur x en y. X is reg oor 118, so hy is 118 grade. Y is reg oor 62, so hy is 62 grade. Lengte van AD, as daai 16 is AD ook 16. CD, as daai ene 32 is daai een ook 32. Okay, so jy gebruik alles wat jy weet van die eienskappe van 'n vierhoek om die onbekende hoeke te bepaal.